All right, ladies and gentlemen, I have here some very interesting information. This is the commercial breakdown for the last 4 Cup Series races, one of them being on Amazon Prime, which was the Coca-Cola 600, and the other 3 being on either Fox Sports 1 or Fox. And what I'm trying to figure out is, are these commercial breakdowns comparable for Amazon Prime and Fox? And is it really necessary for Fox to show that many commercials, especially near that close to the end of the race? Let's find out. So for the Coca-Cola 600, the total amount of time that the race took was just barely under 5 hours, which is a total amount of 295 minutes. The total race broadcast of them showing the race was 286 minutes, meaning they only had 9 minutes of traditional commercials and 42 minutes of side-by-side commercials. The total amount of commercials that we saw was 108, and the total amount of companies or entities advertised was 12. Low number with the amount of companies, but still a good amount of commercials. And the great thing was the fact that we didn't have to see a single commercial in the last 100 miles. I like that. I like that a lot. But how's that favored towards Fox? Let's see here. The total amount of the time that it took to complete that race was 205 minutes. Minutes of race broadcast was 166 minutes, meaning that we had 39 minutes of traditional commercials and 6 minutes of side-by-side commercials. The total number of commercials we saw was 117, and the total amount of companies and entities was 57. A lot more companies, but still the same amount of time, or the same amount of numbers of commercials. And we had 20% of the race ran while it was running commercials. That's not a good look. In the Texas race, that race took 229 minutes to complete, and the minutes of race broadcast was 188 minutes. During that time, we had a traditional amount of commercials of 41 minutes and 7 minutes of side-by-side commercials, meaning that the total number of commercials was 124, and the amount of companies advertised was 57. So somehow, we showed 7 minutes more of commercials, but still the same amount of companies. And again, about 20% of the race was ran while Fox was showing commercials. But how about Talladega? Maybe Talladega is a little different. You know how they were bragging about, oh, it's going to be side-by-side commercials, so you guys can see most of the race. Well, let's see how that looks. In the total amount of time, that took 212 minutes for that race to be completed. And we only had 187 minutes of that race that was broadcast because we had 25 minutes of commercials and 36 minutes of side-by-side commercials. Total amount of commercials was 151, and the total number of companies and entities advertised was 43. So even though we had much more commercials in that time, they still showed less companies. And worst off, with 10 laps to go, they decided to show another commercial break. So what is the meaning of all this? Well, it's simple. The Fox broadcast doesn't give 2 shits about NASCAR in any shape or form. So all I gotta say is, goodbye, Fox. We're not gonna miss you for the rest of the 2025 season.